So that then we shall verify the ID against the names to ensure that there's compliance. So that is basically what we've been doing today. Of course, we have also asked them to prepare for scheduling their appearances before us from the 29th of May until the 6th of June. They're expected to book the times when they'll appear so that we can register them then for the main election. So thank you very much. That's a brief. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Chairman, just wanted to know, in terms of the issue of 3G, we know there's a challenge. I know it's... Sorry, my name is Kenna from People Daily. Just wanted to ask you in relation to the 3G issues. I know it's in the Communications Authority, but on your part, are there areas where you've mapped where there's, you think there's insufficient? There's no 3G. Thank you.
Chairman, my name is Emmanuel Tofo for KTN. Two questions. One, how are you going to verify the signatures that will be given? I know some will get on a Chora Monde. Maybe you can confirm that. And number two, there are areas that have been rocked by conflicts, like Baringo, and those schools are used as polling stations. How are you going to go around that in terms of the polling stations when the election is due?
My name is Wamala from West FM and West TV. My question to the chairman is about the issue that is still lingering around about integrity. What is the position of the commission about those people who are vying but they are having cases in court? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Justus Oshing from Daily Nation. From the meeting that we just come from, we've seen some members who belong to one coalition. There's a Million of Moja coalition. The Wiper Party was there represented. They are saying they have complied with the requirements. Maybe you can just clarify for us whether they are qualified to run for the president alongside the new candidates. Two is the issue of... sorry, I think that's the last one.
Okay, we can deal with that. The question on 3G, you said, I know there's been an ongoing conversation. As a commission, we are expected to transmit Form 34A from the polling station to the National Tallying Center alongside transmitting to the, alongside the other processes. To be able to transmit the form or the image, we of course require 3G network. If you have 2G or a weaker network, you cannot transmit a form, but you may be able to transmit a text message. In 2020, the year 2020, we engaged the Communication Authority to work with them in the spirit of working with our stakeholders, because they are in charge of network connectivity and they are in charge of managing the mobile network operators. And among the issues we discussed is how do we improve from 2017 to 2022 for purpose of network coverage in the country. And the task force or a team was formed to explore how we can work together. As a commission, we increased our registration and polling centers from what we had in 2017 from 24,000 and to 27,000, which is over 27,000. And we shared the data with the Communication Authority of those polling centers, requesting them then to or give us a report on the quality of service of these polling centers as far as 3G is concerned. Because the Communication Authority have the expertise, they have what it takes to undertake that kind of exercise. Now, we got a report from them, which says that they have done a desktop review and confirmed that out of the 27,409 centers we had shared with them, about 1,111 do not have 3G, and the rest have 3G. Now, then there was a disclaimer that the Commission should proceed to go to these polling centers and check for ourselves whether they have the strength that is required. Now, that then, of course, is a challenge to the Commission because we don't have that infrastructure to check. So we shall be engaging Communication Authority further on this matter and be asking them to give us a quality of service, QoS, of these polling centers. Even if it has 3G, does it have the strength that is required to transmit an image? You'll find areas in even urban areas like Nairobi where there's 3G, but it's not strong enough. And so that's a conversation we are going to have with them. There's a meeting which is coming soon, and we shall be able to give you further information on this matter. So the law says presidential elections results must be transmitted. The image will be transmitted, but that's not to say that if there's any problem there will be any crisis. There's no crisis because we expect the returning officers in all the 290 constituencies to bring the hard copy of the result to the National Tallying Center, which will be used to be verified against the image of the same result from that 4A. So there's no crisis, but that is not to say that we need to explore the issue of which area will transmit so that we can inform the country and prepare Kenyans that this area will not transmit. And also as a commission, then we can set in place usage of alternative means of providing network, including using the what do you call it, the solar? Yeah, those, sorry? Yeah, the Thuraya networks which we have. Yeah, so verification of signatures. I think the question here was the methodology to be used for verifying signatures. We are receiving supporter signatures of 2,000 per county. We have to ensure that the geographical areas where they come from is confirmed, so that each supporter then, each candidate has at least 2,000 from each county. We also expect them to give us the signatures accompanied with IDs. So we shall be doing two things: checking the ID against the signature to ensure that it's the same person who has signed, and also checking the record against our register to ensure that these individuals are voters. So those are some of that's what the exercise entails, and ensuring that the candidate meets the requirements. And so there's no harm for a candidate, an aspirant to submit more than the required number, so that if some fall out, then they're still within the limit. So we have our team here who have undertaken the exercise. For those who have submitted today, the exercise will proceed immediately, and they are submitting both hard copy and soft copy to enable us to run the data against our register. So I believe that is clear. We also have a question on Baringo. Yes, there are some centers, polling centers, which have security problems and security concerns. There are about 99 of them, and the Commission is working with the Inspector of Police and the security apparatus in those counties, including Baringo, to ensure that we are able to map out these centers, and so that this should be done in readiness for elections. So we are working together with the National Police Service to ensure that the centers will be available for the general election. In case of any extreme measure where the center is not available, I think as we did in 2017, we may consider alternatives, maybe mobile centers in those very, very extreme cases where there may be violence in that environment, where it makes it difficult for the voter to exercise their democratic right. Integrity, I think there was a question on integrity. Article 75 of the Constitution is very, very clear. I'm sure you are familiar with it, on leadership and integrity. For those individuals who have been found wanting as it relates to Chapter 6, and they have been found by any institution by law to fall short of Chapter 6 by way of impeachment, the Commission's position is that they will not be cleared to participate in the elections. Now, you have to read this together with Article 99(3) of the Constitution, now, which Article 99 provides for qualifications and disqualifications of candidates. And among the disqualifications is that for purpose of other criminal activities, you have been found guilty for a period exceeding 6 months, and 99(3) goes ahead to say, even if you have been found guilty, if you have appealed and you have not exhausted your appeal, then you can be allowed to participate and exercise your democratic rights. Now, that is the position of the Commission. For those who have been found guilty and have been convicted and there's no appeal pending, they will not be allowed to stand. For those who fall under Article 75, we shall not clear them. But where there are cases, and I know I've seen it in the media, cases of those under investigations or have been charged in court, the legal framework does not provide for barring them from participating in elections. The question of Wiper Party, Azimio, I think as a commission, we follow the law in clearance of candidates. When they do come, they must meet the requirements under Article 99. And we have a checklist which has been developed from Article 99 and the Election Act. So we shall follow that checklist. If I may just add the issue of coalition parties, then the new Political Parties Act says that the coalitions deposit a coalition agreement with the register of political parties, and that's within 21 days. And then after that, the registrar issues a certificate to the coalition party, who are supposed to submit their regulations or rules of nominations to the Commission. I confirm that Azimios submitted their rules to the Commission, and the Commission gave them a certificate confirming that their rules are in order. So we expect the coalition arrangements then to be worked within their rules of engagement. However, as a Commission, we are not party to the coalition agreement. It was not submitted to us. I think it was submitted to the register of political parties. The issues in that agreement have not been brought to us. But during registration of candidates, if any party is aggrieved with the issues in that coalition, they are free to ventilate their issues before the Dispute Resolution Committee, which the Commission will be undertaking from the 9th of June up to the 19th of June. And then those issues can be canvassed there, or in any other court of law. But for us, we shall follow the checklist as outlined by the law. I believe I've answered all your questions.
Yes. Sam Ogina from Citizen TV. Sorry, Rollins, I have the microphone. Just a follow-up on the integrity question. Yesterday, there's an organization called the National Integrity Alliance, if I'm not getting the name wrong, has petitioned the court that anyone who has a case, be it pending or concluded, I think I'm interested in pending, should not be cleared to vie for an elected position or even hold public office. So that is a case that is in court. I don't know what IEBC's input is
in regards to the opposition. Secondly, you mentioned in the meeting that at least 11 candidates failed to beat the deadline to submit their running mates. Clarification: are they all independent, and if at all, given that they failed to meet this deadline, have they been technically knocked out? And then, lastly, is the issue of state officers, the involvement in campaigns. You said that there was a committee that the court disbanded, and now what IEBC can do is only receive complaints. Is that the position that IEBC cannot handle these matters because the election process is under the purview of IEBC, and if at all state officers are getting involved in this process, then they're actually infringing on your mandate?
Thank you. Maybe I deal with that. You are right. If there's a case in court, the constitution, we have a very good constitution. You can go to court over anything. Even if you say you don't like me, you can go to court for that declaration. But as a commission, we wait for the judgment and orders of the court. So if the court was to pronounce itself on the matter and say the following, then we comply with the court order. We don't have any other, otherwise if the court makes such a pronouncement. But the law, as it is what we follow, and we follow the law to the letter. Remember, this is an election. You cannot change the rules. You have to follow the rules. You as a referee, of course, we are expected that the level playing field can only be level if the rules apply to everyone. So let's wait for the court case to be determined. I don't know whether we have been served as a commission, but even if we are served, for us, we shall lay the ground as it is and leave it for the court to decide. 11 candidates, include both independent and party. I will ask my PA to share, my communication team to share my remarks with you. It has a schedule of those candidates who did not bring running mates, and they include both political party and independents. And they are automatically not going to participate since they did not meet the requirement. The issue of the state officers, you are saying in terms of chapter, or rather enforcement of the Code of Conduct. Yeah, as you all know, we have the Election Act provide for a Code of Conduct. It's in Schedule 2 of the Elections Act, which candidates and the political parties are supposed to sign. And this part of the documents they give us when they're coming for registration. We, of course, as a commission, the law also provides that the commission shall enforce the Code of Conduct by having a Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee. And this committee worked very well in 2017. And you know that after gazetting the election date on 20th January, we actually summoned 2 individuals under the Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee. And one of them went to court, and the court declared that the Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee is unconstitutional. So what does that mean? That means that the committee cannot sit. It's like a referee reffing a match. I'm sure you watched football like me last night. And you stop the match and go to another person to settle the dispute, then you come back and continue. Now, that is where the problem is. We have appealed against that judgment because we feel it's only proper that the commission is given the mandate to enforce the Code of Conduct and crack the whip, because it's going to be, I think, almost a nightmare for complaints to be taken to court where rules of evidence must be followed, and some of the cases need to be determined quickly. Let's take, for example, violence in election campaigns, tearing each other's posters. Those cases need to be determined swiftly. But that notwithstanding, as we wait for the court determination, we hope that the judiciary, the Chief Justice, will put up a mechanism with the DPP of maybe having same-day hearings for those kind of cases as we wait for the appeal to go through. So that brings me in the issue then we then cannot take an action. If anybody has a complaint, they'll forward to us, then we forward to the DPP for now. Thank you.
My name is Naima Sampao from MTV, and I just want to insist on what my colleague Samina said. Maybe as the chairman of IEBC, you might want to assure, especially presidential aspirants, that IEBC is in full control, especially on the issue of state officers being involved in election. We've seen different parties, or rather, we've seen a political party write a protest letter to you saying that they are very concerned with the involvement of some state officers who had key ministries which are expected to work in tandem with IEBC. Maybe we want to hear the position of IEBC on that. Then something else, while you were speaking in that meeting, issues were raised about early campaigns. And if I heard you right, what you said was, as far as you're concerned, the campaign period begins on 29th May. And you said that those who are going around the country should maintain peace. I think that's all I heard you say. So I'd love to hear, are you then saying it's okay for them to go around campaigning? Or we asked someone from a political party the same, and they threw it back to you saying, maybe then IEBC should come out clearly and define what your understanding of a campaign is, because according to them, they are not campaigning, but according to most Kenyans, those are campaigns.
Okay.
So I believe those are the last questions.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably from me. Okay, my name is Rolling Sotieno from People Daily. You talked about the presidential aspirants, and you gave them up to May 25th to submit the document they are supposed to submit. Just a clarification from you. Does it mean that if a presidential aspirant does not present at least something today, then that person stands disqualified? Or what did you mean exactly? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We start with the state officers. Let me say this. The IEBC commission, which I chair, is a creature of the Constitution. Article 88, 4 of the Constitution is clear. It gives clearly our mandate. And the same Constitution says we are independent among Chapter 15 commissions, and we are only answerable to the Constitution and the law, not to any individual or authority. That is what we are. That's what we ensure every day to be. And our mandate then is to run elections, referenda, and deal with the limitation of boundaries. Now, in doing so, and especially elections, we must work with other agencies. And this is clearly spelled out in Section 105 of the Elections Act. It says IEBC, the following institutions shall assist the Commission when requested to manage elections. One of the institutions is the National Police Service and other government agencies which are involved in elections. Now, what did we do? We set up various meetings with these agencies, National Police Service. We set up a meeting and set up a committee called Election Security Arrangement Program, where we have held meetings on mapping how the security apparatus will be involved in elections and to ensure that there is proper arrangement. We have meetings with other institutions like judiciary through the Judicial Committee on Elections, like DPP. We have an arrangement. We have an MOU with institutions like Commission for University Education, and we work with them to ensure that we then deliver on our mandate. What we don't do is we cannot be controlled by the state officers you are referring to. They have no room. in our boardroom or elsewhere, and we cannot allow them then to interfere with what we do. We work with the stakeholders that we need to work with. And I believe that is the position of the commission. So yes, we did receive letters from political parties. I think the team will address it. But now, when it comes to election offenses, and if one has committed an election offense, I think I've mentioned it, then it will fall within the purview of the DPP. So if there's a complaint about any particular individual, we shall forward it to the DPP because as I said, we cannot enforce the code of conduct at the moment because of the court orders. Early campaigns, I think you got me right. That's what I said. Official campaign period from 29th of May until is it 7th of August? 48 hours before the election date. If anybody has breached the election law, then as I mentioned earlier, these individuals then should be prosecuted before the DPP. Those on supporter signatures, those who have, we have told them, submit what you have. I'm sure if you are a serious candidate, you should even have a few. Submit what you have, then go and look for more and be here by 25th. I think it's not unreasonable to ask for that. We are being facilitative as per Article 83 of the Constitution, and to ensure to help all the candidates, at least to ensure that they meet the requirement. So we are saying submit what you have, and then go and ensure that you meet the requirements by 25th. That is what the commission has had their plea and offered to them. So if they don't come by 25th, then there's really nothing much we can do to assist them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chair. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Chair. I think you can take a leave. The guidance of the acting CEO. And Fourth Estate, thank you so much. Please welcome to a cup of tea. Remember, we're supposed to have finished this event at 11, so we could only afford the tea. Thank you.